Hi everybody, thanks for checking out my channel. So if you're clicking on this video, it's probably because you're curious how to make your turbo sound louder inside the cabin of your Cruze. What I discovered is the car actually has two firewalls. There's one here, then there's a housing for basically the wiper transmission, and then another firewall behind it. Because you have two firewalls, the engine bay is pretty quiet in this car. I had a couple modifications along the way. If you've been following my other videos on how to make your blow-off valve and your turbo louder. But I just got finished installing a coilover suspension in the car, and I left the cowl removed while I was driving around, playing around with the settings, and the turbocharger is so much louder. I could hear it spooling, and I could hear the blow-off valve almost twice as loud as with having the cowl on. Now, the cowl needs to be there because it blocks all the water from getting out of the engine bay and going down into the wiper transmission area. But I think I figured out a way to modify the front firewall. It's not really a firewall, it's like a little plastic cover. What I want to do is let me show you footage of what the car sounds like without the cowl panel in to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Driving around without the cowl panel in right now, which if you have an aftermarket air intake and you take the cowl panel out, it's amazing how much louder the turbo is. You can hear it spool and you can hear the blow-off valve much louder. I might modify the cowl just so I can hear it more when I'm driving. Okay, so you saw in the video how much louder it is. What I want to do is replicate how much louder the turbo is compared to that video, but I want to do it in a way to where we can keep the cowl panel and modify the underneath the other panel. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I took my body saw and I cut about a 10-inch by 2-inch opening right here. Now what that's doing is the fresh air intake for the cabin is right here, and this will allow you to hear the turbo and blow-off valve much louder inside the cabin. I don't know if this is going to work. Also, if you're going to do this to your car, please be very careful. I'm taking a gamble. I'm not making this video because I want to convince people to do this to their car, but if you're like me and you like to tinker and figure out how to make things work, then I just like showing people what I'm doing to my car. So please be very careful when you're using a saw or doing anything near the firewall on your car. Anyway, this is the modification. I'm going to get the car back together and then we'll take it for a spin. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys with putting this whole car back together, so we'll just use the superpower I gained along the way. And instead of me getting dirty, we'll just put the car back together with magic. You ready? Okay, the next thing I want to do is let's take this thing for a road test and see how loud it is now. It's definitely way louder now. See, I can hear the turbo spool where before, even with the intake modification, without touching the firewall or that little cover in front of the firewall, I could not hear the turbo spool. Now I can. Oh, that's awesome. I love that I can hear the turbo spool now before the blow-off valve opens, or recirculating valve. That is so cool. So I tested this modification on the highway earlier today, and I didn't hear any road noise or wind noise. At least my car didn't. I can't promise your car won't or will, but hope you could pick this up on camera. It sounds so good. I'm definitely excited that I could share this with you guys. You know, any kind of free modification that makes a car better and I can figure it out, I'm going to do it to a car. Cars come from the factory a certain way, but a lot of times they're not perfect, and to get them perfect, sometimes you have to change things. Like I said, today was basically a day off. I didn't expect to be working on the car. I didn't expect to be shooting a video. I was just tinkering and cleaning up because I have a 65 Mustang coming down, and I'm going to be putting a modern engine in that car. So I have a whole build series on that car coming up. So there'll be a playlist for that car. There's a playlist for this car. I have a playlist for the CRUZE. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the channel, and I try and keep everything as organized as possible. Sorry that this video isn't as professional as most of my other CRUZE videos, but at least I wanted to get what I was doing on film today, because I thought it was something that a lot of CRUZE owners are looking for. I mean, if you have a turbo car, you want to hear your turbo. This car was pretty quiet when I first got it. Between the shifter sucking from the factory and the boost just not being right from the factory, and all the modifications I've done to be able to get more power, get the turbo to run better, and to modify the car so you can hear it and give it that tuner car feel, I think is all worth it. And I want to share that with you guys. So I appreciate you coming along with me. I appreciate you checking all these videos out. You know, liking and subscribing goes a long way on the channel, especially likes and comments. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, or you have any comments or concerns or things you didn't like, just comment below. I usually get back to everybody in a couple minutes. But I appreciate all the feedback, and thank you very much, everyone. And I appreciate the feedback on my website. If you guys are curious about the website, it'll be in the link in the description. And then thanks again, everybody, and have a very nice day.